Welcome to Prize Fighters, Circus Freaks, and Gangsters, where we look at the food, fraud, fashion, and fighting of the 19th century. I'm Greta.
And I'm Jamie.
And this week, it's a milestone. We are at episode 10 of season 3 of Warrior, the last episode in existence.
The very last. And my God, what a ridiculous soap opera homage to 10,000 different movies, ending with the most colossal cliffhanger ever in a series. It's no wonder Netflix picked this up. It was probably the head of Netflix was like, we have to figure out how this show ends, so let's get this done.
And the name of the episode is A Window of Fucking Opportunities. So, yeah, let's look in.
So the guy who directed this has directed basically all of the episodes with real tough guy names. Chinese Connection, like all the ones that we were like, oh, that's an homage to Bruce Lee. That's all him. So that's why we had the nunchucks come back in this one. And that's what this episode was really like, take Guy Ritchie and Quentin Tarantino, throw them in a blender and add Kung Fu.
Okay, yeah. But he also has a time limit, so speed it up here, bub.
Oh, yeah. I'm not criticizing at all. I like that combination.
It's just like, it's funny, like the changes you have to make when you're like, no, it has to fit in that 42-minute period or whatever. But we start off with Mai Ling, who has exhausted her targets in Chinatown. And by that, I mean she's killed them all. She doesn't have anybody to go after in Chinatown.
Everybody dead.
And so she heads uptown, and Eliza realizes, oops, I might have made a mistake here. Gulp.
Yeah, and this was wild, because so Mai Ling shows up in Eliza's house in the middle of the night with a bunch of Long Z guards sitting around her, and she's just sitting in front of the fire, just waiting for Eliza to wake up. Like, what, was she just throwing pebbles against her bedroom door, waiting for her to come out?
Who knows? But I was like, so did she bully the butler into making tea? Did she bring tea? Like, where did the tea come from? For whatever reason, that's stuck in my brain.
I feel like Mai Ling wasn't. You know, you made you made big hay about it before, as they say back in the day. Why am I rhyming so much? But that she would never have drunk English tea. That she's not putting Earl Grey down her throat. Mai Ling.
Well, I don't think she really drinks it. It's more of a prop to like put in dramatic pauses and everything.
She did hold the cup in the Chinese fashion, which is why I thought perhaps she was. You noticed that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you held your hands up for the camera as if we were filming this for the YouTubes.
But yeah, so Eliza's not sure what's happening, but I think she thinks she's gonna die.
And, you know, with good reason. You fuck over this crazy dragon lady, warlord queen, and you're probably going to die. And she realizes, well, I've made a grave error here. And it's possible that all my servants are dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't know. House is dark. But, Mai Ling's just like, no, I want you to turn into me and kill everyone who makes your life miserable, and bye.
Because it's certainly, if it didn't make the news, it would have made the social circle rounds that, gasp! Did you hear what the savages did in Chinatown? This woman, this dragon lady psychopath had everyone killed. Like, that would have made at least the rounds in the salons.
Yeah, and then she just bugs out, and you know Eliza is going to bed for a week now. She is having a major collapse. And but
she made a great point. She was like, I understand you were just picking on the weakest person in the room, and you know that your husband's a philanderer and all that, and at some point you're going to get sick of this, and when you do, here's a knife. Use this knife. This knife will end all your problems. Don't get caught. But have a nice day.
The only question is, Mai Ling doesn't seem to understand that Eliza is just as likely to cut her own throat because she wouldn't want to deal with all the implications. Do you know how messy it would be if your husband was found stabbed in your bed if you're not a Chinese warlord? I mean, maybe Eliza doesn't want to deal with all that.
But how hard would it be to just like, I don't know, stab him while he's in the outhouse or something. Like, and then just shove him down the hole. Nobody's going to look for him in the outhouse hole. Like, you just call it a day. It seems like it would have been very easy to dispose of a body back then. Everything smelled terrible. It was just like, nobody's noticing a corpse for a minute.
I don't know. Disposing of a body. We get to test that theory a couple of times this episode. So why don't we check that out?
And as you mentioned, gentlemen made some use of dead bodies before they were put into the ground. So the corpse stink was probably, it was redolent. It was everywhere.
I wouldn't call them gentlemen, Jamie.
Well.
So from there we go to Leary's bar, and it's a crime scene.
By the way, when she was giving that lecture of you can smell the stink of whores on your husband, and I immediately thought of you telling me about how hard used corpses were back in the day, and I was like, that's on a good day. She's smelling a live person.
Terrible.
Boy, you have filled my head with horrors, Greta, and I appreciate it.
Hey, I wanted to quit being surprised, and I'm less surprised, but I get bummed out on occasion. So.
Oh, we will have to do Burke and Hare as well at some point.
Yeah, that's next Halloween, 100%. So,
oh, sweet.
So we're at Leary's bar, and it is a crime scene, and we also confirmed that Strickland was hiring goons from the bottom of the barrel, ex-police officers.
Fired from the force.
Yeah.
Police officers, yes. When you are too much of a scumbag to work for the police, you go to work for Strickland and get murdered in Leary's bar.
When you just tick him off. And O'Hara's like, being chief is going to be hard, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And then he's like, oh, God damn it, I better go get Leary before he kills Strickland.
Right. And speaking of Strickland, we get to see him having, I believe, some smug brandy. He's like, yep, I've solved all my problems. I've got this guy out of the way. I've got that pesky little girl. Everything's good. I have wrapped everything up. Bows tied everywhere.
Yes. And then Nellie Davenport, who I just saw on a terrible TV show called Father Brown. So I have this as Nellie v. Strickland was originally what I wrote. And I was like, oh my God, Nellie's going to kill Strickland herself? And then it's Nellie v. Strickland v. Toy. And I'm like, oh my God, now he's going to get murdered by both of them? And Leary is outside. And I'm like, holy shit, how many people are going to kill this guy all at once?
Well, we were talking about this last time. He has pissed off too many people to get out of this thing alive. Yeah. And so Nellie goes for the monologue, like really engages. Like, this is okay. Like, this is when you want to engage his attention if you're trying to distract him. And boy, does that work.
Yeah, it sure does. Because Atoy can get in behind him with no problem. And she is ready to do some murdering. She also makes it last, too. Boy, she teaches him a lesson. Like, you might have gotten my young Padawan, but you're not getting this Jedi.
Well, and there's making it last by toying with them, or it's making it last by, like, taking out the vital things that doesn't kill him. Because, I mean, she gets the Achilles tendon there pretty quick, and, like, that's not going to kill him, but he can't come get her.
Yeah, no. Now he's stuck in one place. She slashes the cheek, slashes the arm, slashes the body. Then she goes back to the arms. Like, every little bit of him was hurt in some way, and she just kept stabbing him. Death by 1,000 cuts. It was amazing.
Yeah, no, because, she's like, no, you really tortured Lion, so I am going to make this hurt. But I am going to disable you before I start toying with you because I am not a fucking amateur here.
And while all this is going on, Leary and O'Hara are arguing outside about whether or not Leary should go kill the guy. Meanwhile, Leary goes, oh, holy shit, that guy's dead on the ground in front of the house. And then they realize somebody's beating them both to the punch.
Wait, this sounds serious. What's going on inside?
Would have gotten away with it, too, if it wasn't for those damn kids.
Well, I do love the thing where O'Hara comes in and it's that, like, callback to, I think, season 2, where they're like, who is this swords man? And he gets in there, he's like, holy shit, it's a swords woman.
Yeah,
like,
no fucking wonder. Yeah, you have that.
That's just the
we
look
were
on
looking
his
for
face.
the wrong thing the whole damn time. Damn.
And they're just standing there rather gormless, and then Nellie's like, kaboom, and they're like, oh shit, get out of the way. I don't know. That was some of like that lovely chaos that you can create in a moment, and just it was great.
It is amazing you pointed out that face he cut. I mean, I'm so glad that made it in there, because it was definitely a moment of him looking and just going, holy shit, like nobody won that pool. Fuck.
Right. And then, like, it's the second set of bodies that O'Hara has to look at in like less than 24 hours. And he's like, good. Okay, now this one's really gonna be a problem. And yeah, and dude, Leary, it doesn't matter whether you killed him or not. Like, everybody thinks you did.
Yeah. Also, I imagine running through Leary's head is, holy shit. Now it's not just Sahm I gotta worry about. This woman could kill me at will. Like,
yeah.
He was prepared for a brawl with Strickland, and then just watch this woman kill him unscathed, and is like, all right, I'm up against it. Maybe I'm going to go politics from here on in.
Yeah.
And he does.
Yeah. Yes, he does. But I do like the fact that I was sort of thinking, like, you could take the bodies to the dissection labs with a bullet hole or two in them, because, you know, that shit happens. Like, you know, that just happens. But this guy has like really precise sword cuts all over his body. We can't deal with that.
From the description I have read of doctors in the 1870s, doctors, they would have been filled with cocaine. I mean, they would have been brawling in a bar. All you had to do was find the shittiest, smelliest person in the bar and be like, hey, I have a corpse to sell you. And he would have immediately handed you $100 with a full erection. Like, they were ready to purchase corpses. They didn't care about the condition.
Well, that, and he was the well-known rich dude. Maybe.
Yeah, that would have been a problem. Yeah, they had to burn him up. So I love they took him to the brother-in-law, finally made himself useful, and they burned the body at the brother-in-law's.
Yeah, because cement factory, you kind of have a lime kiln situation going on there, and so, you know, that's what you put in there.
They got to burn a few less oysters and seals today.
Right, yeah, I mean, boop. I'm just saying, no smell-o-vision, no smell-o-vision. That's all I have to say about that.
You know what? I would have taken that. This is not the part where I would have worried about the smell-o-vision, honestly. It's most of the rest of the episode.
Okay.
But then smell-o-vision would give us the like a gentle waft of honeysuckle or something, because and birds tweeting in the background, because Buckley and Archer are happy and they are just traipsing along. Okay. Buckley is smitten. He's a new man.
He is, and I love that he kind of makes a Sisyphus reference, you know, done pushing the boulder up the hill, like as he's walking up a hill and he gets to the top of the hill. I was like, that was fun. That was very fun. Yeah. I had fun with that.
Yeah.
And I will just say, Archer's dress mostly makes sense. I'm not...
Okay, but then let's have a talk. Let's have a talk about this goddamn kiss. You screamed about bonnets, and I'm just going to scream about kisses. Like, just to let people know how illegal kissing has been in the past. Like, it's only recently been made legal in India to kiss. And that is taken from the British. Like, it is so... it would never have happened. They would have just been shunned. Nobody ever would have spoken to them again.
Well, I mean, this is the crazy thing. I wrote down, I'm like, she's bold, reaching out and touching him in public. And then they kiss. And I'm like, nobody's stopping and staring? Are you kidding me? This would have been like front page news.
Yes, yes.
Indecent PDA in a public square.
His last day as mayor. Her last day as a woman of any kind of repute. I mean, that is just the end of them right there. That kiss in public is the end.
But I did enjoy Archer's face when Buckley asks Archer to marry him, and she's doing like, oh, of course, yes, but partly she's also like, oh my God, that worked way faster than I thought it would.
I was like, that was the most heartfelt, like, pleasant, surprisingly pleasant like marriage proposal ever on a film. It was really genuine and like thought out, and I was like, wow, Buckley came through with the only like television proposal I have ever appreciated.
Oh, okay. I mean, there's like some there's some practicality to it. But yeah, he's like, my life sucks less. And so I'd like to try some other new things like, companionship. But I'm like, yeah, there was definitely a certain sweetness to it.
Yeah. And it was very genuine. It was, it was that like raw, unshielded emotion where somebody's like, I just love you. And I think, you know what? Why don't we just go ahead and be best friends forever? Like, that's my kind of proposal.
And unfortunately, he's dealing with somebody like Catherine Archer, who we've already like pegged as she's probably pretty bad. She is just, that's not gonna go well for Buckley.
I feel bad for Buckley now. And this is how we end up with school shooters, I guess. Like, it's like these people need a hug, and then they end up like getting the hug from a person who's going to just break them in some way, and then they just spaz out and kill everybody.
Yeah, I think this is also kind of one of the problems with you like have to find your one and only, and no period of like dating around. Like, no, you should like try dating lots of different people and see how lots of people act in these situations and discover like, this is healthy, this is not healthy, this works with the way I'm wired, this doesn't work with the way I'm wired. But when it's like one and done,
it's almost like deciding on a person based on their appearance is a terrible, terrible criteria for it's almost like you're saying that.
What? Whoa. You're just going to upend thousands of years of cosmetic augmentation and say we should just base people on like how they act and how they treat other people?
I would think that if you're going to be around that person a lot, you might even go blind at some point, so you wouldn't know what they looked like. And so, you might find that doesn't make so much of a difference to you at some point.
I'd say it'd be fair to like say you have like generalities you find more pleasant or not, but yeah, dialing in everything to the perfect 10.0, yeah, that's just gonna lead to misery and disappointment 100%.
Also, rating people on a scale is generally going to make you unhappy as a person.
Well,
I would say
unless it's how good of a cook they are, but maybe that's just me. Okay, well, enough of us having fun. We get to see Lee and O'Hara and Mosley actually kind of having fun.
Yeah, three-way kiss. That was a shocker. On the heels of that other PDA.
I mean, I just sort of feel like these guys are settling back into their comfortable characters, Lee.
Oh, I wanted Mosley to stay so bad. When he was leaving, I was like, no, stay with Lee and O'Hara, please.
But he does go out as just being a grinning maniac, your favorite version of him.
I love him. I even love that he was like, I'm going to Los Angeles. You can come down with me. And Lee's like, absolutely not. He was like, well, hey, if you're ever in Los Angeles, I never will be. Like trying to the very end. Like, I really enjoyed working with you, even though I extorted you out of it. Like, it was fun.
Yeah, you're a guy. You're like, you got some skills, man. I appreciate you. That was very much that. And Lee's like, great, get the hell out of town.
I tell you what, if he had partnered up with Mosley, no one would ever hit him on the head again. Like, he is safe with Mosley.
Well, except didn't he get hit on the head working with Mosley and get sent to...
once. But I mean, how many times has he been hit on the head by O'Hara? It's like 6 times a day.
This is true.
Yeah.
And then O'Hara gets to be like kind of grumpy and miserable. I actually think that's O'Hara's like happy resting state where he kind of gets to be like, the world is so mean to me. I have all of these problems. Like, I think he's just like one of those grumpy bear people.
Yeah, he's the lovable curmudgeon. That's his role in life. Yeah.
Yep. And then we get to have the best part of any gunfight is the gun loading montage.
Is that the best part?
As far as I'm concerned, that's like the most interesting and action packed. Like, that's where all the like interesting technicalities, and you got to see like all of the different firearms everybody's using, the different ways all of the different firearms load. I mean, like, for me, all of like the technological stuff, that's the good part. The part where they use...
Well, then tell us about these guns, because I don't know shit about them. I could care less about guns. I've never been interested in them.
I mean, for me, it's always just technological advancements fascinate me.
This still would have been the era of black powder, wouldn't it have been? They weren't...
Yeah, oh, totally.
Yeah, so, like when they were firing weapons indoors, they wouldn't have been able to see shit. They wouldn't have been able to see a fucking thing. Like,
No. And especially with that, like, moist ice house air, like, it would have just, like, hung there. And just...
they would have been blind and choking on the gunpowder residue. It would have been miserable.
But I don't know. Like,
but they wouldn't have been able to smell the corpses for a minute.
That's true. But I had fun seeing this, like, wide range of firearms that were in use at this time and place, which was true. They had, like, old guns. They had, like, the newest guns. The government had the multi-shot. You know, it was just, like, this was a period when we were getting a lot better at killing more people faster from further away, which I think sucks. But just the technology of it, I can't help but be fascinated by it.
See, I love the editing because it was very Guy Ritchie, the way it slid through scene to scene and like with the loading.
Yes.
Felt like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels at that point. It was really fun.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And then Buckley saves Mai Ling. He actually calls her to a meeting to make sure she doesn't get caught up in the raid for the plates, which Chao has set up.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
And he even, like, stabs her one more time. For such an intelligent woman, you can be quite short-sighted. Has anyone told you that? And she's like, it may have come up recently.
That was fun.
I can't. Look, I feel a little touchy about that. But yeah, the showdown in the ice house that was kind of, like, hinted at was teased last episode. It's here. It's going down. It's happening.
This was so it went right from Guy Ritchie to Quentin Tarantino because you have Hong being like cute, talking about people dating a little bit. You know, you get that little slice of life action right before the action starts to kind of get you hooked into it emotionally. And then the scene where it's Happy Jack's crew with the Hopway and the cops all screaming. So they were even taking lines from True Romance. Like, the shit they were screaming at each other was the shit of the three-way standoff in True Romance. It was not stolen scene from scene, but it was a beautiful homage to that. And then when the shooting all started, like, it had the same frenetic feel. I loved that scene. It was so good. And I love the movie True Romance. If you guys haven't seen it, it was Quentin Tarantino's... he wrote it, but he did not get to direct it. His first Hollywood film.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it had good editing. All right. But yeah, I was just looking at this going down. I'm like, there are too many jumped up, heavily armed people yelling at each other for this not to go splattery real quick.
Oh, yeah. And it certainly did. Plus, my God.
Blammo.
Those bullets put just humongous holes in people back then. Because they were firing humongous slugs.
Yes. I mean, the balls, like, I think everybody's past ball ammunition at this point. But still, yeah, they are big fucking bullets. You got to admit, an ice house is kind of a fun place to have a gunfight from, like, a scene setting point of view.
Yeah.
Because you could have all the ice go kapooey and, like, blow over. And, like, every blood splatter looks, like, spectacular against the ice. But, dude, after it went on for a little while, I'm like, I miss the hand-to-hand.
Right? Yeah. But luckily we had Sahm just go into super capoeira mode and start dodging bullets like he's in the Matrix.
Yes.
That was awesome. That he channeled his Mark Dacascos. Mark Dacascos is famous for popularizing capoeira in films through a movie Only the Strong. And Mark Dacascos used it in a bunch of movies. So it was fun to see Sahm using kind of a Mark Dacascos move to get out the door.
And then he does get out the door and then, like, oh, thank God. Now we get to have a knife fight. Yes. the like, okay, don't worry. We're still in a kung fu movie. We get the knife fight in the hallway. And you're like, okay, it looks like Asam's plan. It's going to work. It's going to work.
My cat was jumping around on the glass pieces of my desk that I'm moving in here. And I was like, let me move those before they get broken.
Little furry terrorist.
As she purrs loudly into the microphone. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But yeah, so we're like, okay, Asam's plan, it works. It goes right. It does not go right. because he just clobbered in the back of the skull.
Always, because why wouldn't he? Well, I mean, he does. He at least gets out the door. Like, he is not expecting that one at all. But it's been a minute since he's had any kind of CTE type event.
That's true.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, he took one for Lee.
Yeah, there you go. And then we open up on a bunch of white bed sheets and a bed, and that's not a Sahm in the bed.
Oh, no.
Somebody else's bed?
That is Archer. And so who is the guy? I didn't recognize him. Was he the guy who was running for mayor before?
No. So I was so excited. Archer is just as evil as we had hoped, and that is Buckley's assistant, the bowler hat guy that he was yelling at.
Ah, well, he was giving her head, and she was definitely enjoying it. So
yes,
she is a boss bitch, and that's awesome. It was an awesome scene.
I was like, oh my God, she is just as evil as we were saying she was. This is great, and this is what happens when you belittle your flunkies. They will screw you, or some version of it.
Yeah. But again, like, Catherine Archer is a boss bitch. She has got the mayor like dancing like a marionette, and she is getting head from his assistant. Like, it just could not be any more gangster than that. Oh, and she's even counting his money because she's like, she knows she's getting the Blakely fortune.
Yes.
So she's stealing Penny's money at the same time. She's stealing Penny's money. She's controlling the mayor, and she's getting her own sex. She is doing all of it at the same time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. I mean, I was just like, good. We have a great baddie back in there.
Yeah.
So, yes. And then we get back to our favorite wide-eyed girl, Yong. She's let out of prison, and she like, doesn't believe it. Like, with good reason.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where Nazis will let somebody go in a field, and they're like, what? And they're like, yeah, run, you're free. And it's like, God damn it, you guys are going to shoot me the second I fucking turn around. And they know that she left like that. She was like, they're going to shoot me. Shit. All right, well, fuck, I better leave anyway.
Something's going to happen. They're going to
shot in the front or back.
Scoop me up and, or throw me in the camp. I don't know. And I was just like, okay, so I have this faith in Yong. Is she going to get out of town faster than Jacob did? And the answer is mostly.
Mostly.
Yes.
She so I don't want to give away the end, obviously, but I was just the end blew my mind. But we'll get there. Yeah.
We will get there. But we got a little more Jamie fan service with Mosley. I mean, just he has his line about, there's no such thing as innate goodness. That's why we have to do the job that we do.
Yep. Although I personally do not believe that. I think that people just are lazy. That's what happens.
Oh, and I also think it's the thing that people who are up to no good tell people who are trying to make the world better. It's like, stop trying, because, it's not going to do any good. What they're really saying is stop trying because you're making my job harder.
Yes, exactly.
Because Mosley's like, I like my job. I like beating the crap out of people in terrifying ways. Like, if we fix that so people don't need, like, if we fix the system so I don't have my job, I would be sad.
Yeah. And also, he, like us, is one of those people who has been told his entire life to stop working so fucking hard because you're making everybody else look bad. Yeah. And he's like, you know what? Just fuck all of y'all. I'm going to do this all by myself.
Yeah, but Lee is definitely like, yeah, great, fine, whatever. Don't let the door hit you.
Yeah. And then we go into Leary is learning how to be a politician first and a puncher of faces second. Although maybe he's just exhausted from smashing out all those teeth in the last episode.
I also think that taste for the good whiskey. He's like, this is now my North Star.
That really, we both saw that at that one scene, and when we saw that light go off, where he was like, all right, I'll do this for whiskey. I won't do it for money. I won't do it for women. I won't do it for this. I won't do it for that. Because he wasn't going to switch to being an upper class dude to be with Penny's sister. No, but if she had poured him some 18-year-old scotch, he would have jumped. He would have been like, get me a suit right now, woman. What are we doing? We're not blowing up shit.
Yeah. But it is sort of like when he's talking to Mr. Pierce, and he's like, yeah, I am in your club. I know you think I'm not supposed to be here, but you're wrong. Have a seat. And it was sort of like him doing the Taylor Swift to Scooter Braun, like, oh, you don't think I can do this on my own? We'll be doing Leary's version of politics. So, yeah.
Yeah. I just pulled a long Z and killed everybody. So I have no competition, and so now you're going to be my flunky, or I will find somebody else who's alive to do it.
It's like, I can be your power broker and hand over like some cashity cash. But you do that or I'll just go to the next guy on my list.
Yeah. Also, it's really nice that you wanted to be 50-50 partners with me. That's cool. Thank you for that. The guy's like, I don't want to be partners. And he's like, yeah, have some scotch to celebrate our new partnership. Like, straight up pulled like a My Ling on that one. Like with the the laundry guy. And he was like, he just wanted to borrow a little money. And she was like, no, I'll give you a bunch and we can be partners. It'll be cool.
And it was like, okay, so we go from one quote unquote friendly drink to what appears to be actual friendly drinks at the O'Hara household.
Oh yeah, Abby and Lucy are getting to be friends, which is really a fun little scene.
We have a couples date.
two women on this show are not fighting each other finally.
Well, they do have the same color hair, so you know.
Well, I think I guess in a lot of places, like any kind of not Protestant, not waspy person who was rich is all shit, so it doesn't matter.
But the romance novel trope is you have two women with different color hair and they have to hate each other, so, you know. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I was like, they have the same color hair.
Okay,
all right, cool.
No,
I had no idea that was a thing.
You have the brunette heroine and there's like the evil blonde, or you have the blonde heroine, there's the evil brunette or redhead or whatever. So, yeah, no, that was a cheap shot.
Mel's over here reading dragon novels and aqua stuff, so I don't ever hear about this hair color issue.
Anyway, it's very cute. O'Hara's pouring them whiskey. He and Lee go out on the porch. They're drinking their whiskey, and you know they're each finding their way. And God, O'Hara is just so happy being slightly put upon. Like that is just his happy place.
He's not real put upon though. I mean, he's happily griping. You know, yeah. He's happily griping. Yeah. I'm married to one of these cheerful curmudgeons, and so I understand what a happy gripe is. My dad did it too. It was very. It's a fun gimmick. I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's just sort of where they are. But my favorite part is he's kind of
the best Muppets are Waldorf and Statler for a reason.
That's true.
Yeah, we all love the sarcastic curmudgeon.
Yeah, but he's sort of grumbling along, and he's like, "Come on, Lee, loosen up, be a fun guy. Come on."
It was cute. At this point, it's like, are we getting a spinoff that's just like these two couples starting a homestead together? Like, I would watch it.
Yeah.
They just switch it to kind of a rom-com type deal that has like one good fight in it a show. I'd take it.
Or like HGTV with occasional gunfights. I don't know.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. All right. But we get a little Chao, looking at Asam's bag going, where is the dude? Like,
that's what the world needs, by the way, Greta. You and your cousin need to start like an HGTV show for 19th century houses, where you kind of walk in and you're kind of showing people all of the goings on. Here's the ice box, and there's where we throw all the oyster shells before we burn them. And
also not smell-o-vision, because nobody would watch that.
No. Well, especially not once you got to the outhouse.
And besides, all of like the real quick fixes that they do in the modern HGT, just everything takes too damn long in the 19th century.
That is for sure. That is absolutely for sure.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a quick fix.
But yeah, so we see Chao with Asam's cash, and he's like, I can tell something's wrong. So, yeah, later. And then we find out where Sahm has been. And he has been knocked out.
He has been knocked out. And he wakes up and finds out that the whole place is abuzz. The Hopway are mobilizing.
What time is it? How long has this been? What's going on? Yeah.
He's like, fuck, I gotta be at the train station. And then he sees everybody's gearing up for war. And he's like, oh, shit. And so did you think the same thing I did? Did you think he thought they were going after the printer girl? Because I was like,
oh, totally.
What do they need 400 people to go kill this girl for? She's a printer.
Yeah, but I mean, young June overreacting, that's a thing I believe would happen.
Yeah. But then when he says it, then he's like, no, you fucking dumbass. We're going to go kill your sister. And he's like, oh, well, I guess I have a problem with that too.
Yeah, but it is really interesting. And I was like, oh shit, I was wrong. But then the more I thought about it, either way you write it, young June is rewriting history in his head to make it all about, I just have to go kill this one chick. Like, he's taking no responsibility for any of the dumb shit that he's done.
Oh, no, he blamed it entirely on Sahm. He's like, you gave away half our territory, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, bitch, that's the whole reason you're here. Shut the fuck up. But...
yeah, and everything terrible is my Ling, and he completely rewrote all of history to blame it on just like this one woman, and all I have to do is kill this one chick and everything will be cool. Right, okay, let's go get her. Yeah, well, and this comes all the way back to the beginning of this series when you're like, young June, he's kind of an honorable guy. I'm like, this is a guy who will kill a woman because she's in his way.
You were right. I was wrong.
This is the thing about young June that scared me from the very beginning, and he's doing it, and goddamn it.
And it all comes back to laziness. It's just like they want to do one step where they could do three that are very easy. But they're like, no, I'm going to stab somebody in one. That's what I'm going to do.
Well, and, he would have to, like, go through some personal character development, and that's just totally not his thing.
No, he's not... Tony Robbins fan is not what he is.
Nope. He is like, I see the solution to all of my problems in this window of fucking opportunity. I'm going to go do this one thing, this one silver bullet, this one magic action, and that will solve everything.
Yeah, he would be one of those guys who was always trying to do a get-rich-quick scheme if he wasn't running this Tong. Yeah.
I mean, counterfeiting money. That was exactly.
Yeah, that's right up his alley. Yeah, that's where he wants to be. That's his wheelhouse.
Yeah,
when he's not stabbing.
Yeah, Wong Chao and Sahm are like, no. We'll just like infuse a little cash in here, like tide us over, like sort of create this like extra layer of protection into our larger net of stuff. And young Jun's like, print the bank full. Let's do it all.
Yeah. So I loved this fight scene because first Sahm just takes everybody out, and then so it's just Hong and young June left, and we knew that's
okay. Let's go back to the group fight scene. Okay. I was like, he was so smart in choosing it because it sort of looks like he's gonna be cornered, like because he's backing into this hallway, but no, he chooses a space where the Hopway dudes can only come at him like one or two at a time because there's that choke point to come in there. Exactly. So like they can't all rush him.
Exactly.
I was like, okay, that's cool. And then also like being backed into a corner is a problem, but on the other hand, like they can't come at you from multiple directions. They could only come at him from, so he was really controlling the space well, and I was like, clever.
Yeah, nobody can punch him in the back of the head while he's trying to hurt somebody. And
he's already done that.
Yeah. And so in the first round, he tried to do all non-violent, like all like non-incapacitating moves. Did you notice that? Mm-hmm. Like he really was like not doing arm breaks. He was just like taking people down. And then they all got up with their pride hurt and started attacking him with weapons. And he was just like disgusted. Like, really, guys, you're going to make me do this?
Really? Yep. So, and that was an interesting flashback to season 1 as well, when he was saving Penny and he was just trying to like smack people. He wasn't trying to break anything. He was just like back off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, that was a real fun callback there.
And
too.
When he had to whip the shit out of all the Hopway at the beginning too, because he had to, he had to prove himself that way too. So yeah, there's been a number of times where he's let the Hopway slide. You think they would just stop trying. But then he kicks the shit out of Hong and Young Jun at the same time. But again, using the proper technique of lining your opponents up and keeping them in a line so that they can't attack you all at once. And it was fun that you noticed that. That was really cool.
I will say the way Hong was fighting, his heart was not in this.
No, he didn't want to fight Assam.
He did not want to do this. He didn't want to die, but he was like, but which part of this trio do I betray? You know, like you could just, he was a conflicted dude.
Yeah. Yeah. But
I was going to say, because we've seen Hong fight when he is having fun and he's just got that battle grin on and he just goes in. And here he was like, I guess I have to do this. Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like the Leong Kong Pak thing where it was like, yeah, I really don't want to do this. Yeah. But we got so we got the great Chinese Connection homage with the nunchuck scene, which was had a lot of similar moves to Chinese Connection, in which he's fighting in a dojo against a bunch of judo guys. And so, it was a great scene there. And then we had another homage to Bruce Lee, because at one point Hong has him like backed up into a corner and he measures him off with 2 fingers in his stomach and then hits him with a 2-inch punch, which Bruce Lee was very famous for back in the 60s, was his 2-inch punch. So that was a really fun homage. And then he kicks Young Jun through that wall, and that was so dope, because you saw that was not an easy breakaway wall. Like, he hit that thing with force and fell through it, and then fell into another wall. Yeah, that must have hurt. That was a badass scene.
I mean, this was just an ugly, grinding end to their relationship. And the fact that it ends up in the street, in the muck, it just,
and it was an end to the Hop Way. Like, he kicked the shit out of all of the Hop Way and their leader, and then he just said, fuck it, I don't even want this. Like, he's not even doing the necromonger, you keep what you kill thing. He's just like, now you guys suck.
Though I do have one question for you. What is that secret pocket in the back of, above your kidney where you can get stabbed but, not go down?
I think you know that one better than I do. Maybe he stabbed him in.
I was like, how they... So, I guess they totally missed his kidneys and all, the interesting arteries that are back there, but...
Well, it's a short blade, and it wasn't in all the way. It was, sticking out a couple inches. So it only got in, an inch and a half, 2 inches, something like that. So I don't... Yeah.
You know, he does have some big fucking muscles back there. So that's the secret pocket. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Plus, you got 2 kidneys, so, you know.
Yeah. No, but, I mean, that's why kidney stabs are so bad. You bleed out fast. That's what's going on.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Because you're filtering your blood through your kidneys. And so if you open up all of those vessels in there, the blood just sprays everywhere inside your body. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Huh. Just like when you get stabbed in your carotid in your... in your clavicle. Yeah. I'm pointing it so the camera can see it. But at the base of your neck by your clavicle, if you sever the carotid and you point the knife into the body, the person just bleeds out internally. And
your kidneys are this very blood vessel-y rich environment. And so if you slice them up, just the blood just glorps out of them. So... yeah, that's why the kidney bruising and kidney stabs and all of that. That's why that's so bad.
That was a really good onomatopoeia for the way blood comes out of the... Because, boy, I don't know if it got on the TV back in the day, but the Bud Dwyer suicide got on TV in Philadelphia. So I saw...
Oh!
Yeah, it was a Philadelphia city councilman shot himself with a .45 on TV, and blood glorps out of a person's body. At a certain point. Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. Anyway,
we're a human fountain. We're just waiting to blow. We're a Yosemite made of blood.
Okay. So let's do something a little more hopeful. We get Yeonmi. She's on, thank God, the train platform after disappointing the crap out of her father. And she's really coming to the realization that she was always going to have a dissatisfying relationship with her dad. She does kind of a monologue with him, but it more sounds like she's telling herself that she's like, oh, wait, I was always going to bring shame upon my family, so I might as well get out now.
Yeah, yeah. It was the 19th century version of a breakup email.
But yeah, so she's on the train platform, and Wong Chao is like, here's Asam's money. She's like, no, we were gonna leave together. She tries to do the romantic gesture, but talk about your heart not really being in it. Like, she's like, I don't really want to be a gangster's girlfriend.
And he was awesome. He was like, I've been in this exact situation, and it really sucks, and it really hurts. And, like, I escaped someplace. And let me tell you this. If you escape, you survive, and you can tell another story. But if you stay here, you will die. So get the fuck on the train. Here's some money.
Yeah. And I mean, that was really coming from his heart, but it was that moment where Wong Chao, like, knows the whole world is exploding, and he's, like, at the fucking train station. There was something going on in Wong Chao's head that he's like, nope, this is my home. Like, I have decided this is where I'm going to die.
Oh, you think that was instead of him, he could have left with the money, but he was giving it. Interesting.
Yeah, because it was kind of like, you know, he's been running his whole life. Like, he left China to, like, try to get a better life, and he ended up a slave in Cuba. He left Cuba, and you know, all of these different steps. And the fact that, like, he sends her away, but he decides to stay. He's like, you know what? I have decided this is my home.
Yeah. Huh.
I'm done.
I did not pick that up.
Running on to the next thing. I don't know. This whole episode was so epic in so many ways. Like, my headcanon was just, like, completely out of control.
So then there are still some Hopway somehow that are still standing who can go and attack Mai Ling, which seems impossible. So as Asam is desperately trying to get to Mai Ling, she is getting attacked herself.
Well, I mean, it's the thing. Like, some guys were in there gonna fight Asam, but, like, some of them just, like, headed out the front door. Like,
right.
Like, they got a bunch of guys, so not all of them stayed and fought Asam. You know?
I don't want to get my ass kicked by Asam. I'll go fight literally anyone else.
Exactly. And
because they know Li Yong isn't there to fight. So, like, the two number one people to fear are Li Yong and Asam. Mm-hmm. And now they're like, well, Asam's in there, so he can't beat me up. And Li Yong's nowhere to be found. So I'm going to go away from Asam.
Yeah, and I love the way they framed Mai Ling, because in the past, like, she'd been, like, up in that room, and especially, like, in season 1 and everything, she was, like, a queen up there. And this time she's clearly a prisoner.
Yes. Yeah. She's the princess in the tower now.
Yeah. And all I have to say is thank God they put her back into sensible warlord jammies. Out of those stupid frilly nightgowns, she's back in business pajamas again. And she's gonna need them.
Yes. And now then we're back to the train platform. Yes. And so here's what I had predicted. Okay. I thought that Li Yong and Asam were going to team up and be the opposition to Mai Ling. So I was so wrong, because now Asam has gone to Mai Ling. It looks like they're teaming up.
Right.
And then Xing comes back and stabs up Chao on the platform.
No!
Just stabbing her. Stab.
No! You can't kill Chao?
They killed our beloved Chao.
Yeah.
Well, they have stabbed many times. A very resilient Chao who has survived slavery in Cuba. So maybe he has just been stabbed many times. Those Slenderman girls stabbed that one girl like 72 times and she survived. So maybe Xing just missed a lot.
Xing doesn't feel like a missing kind of guy, but I just that got me. I was a little mad about that.
That was wild. And then Li Yong is now the head of the not Longzi. They have dropped their dusters. And they are just
gorgeous jackets in the dust. Foof.
They are, those expensive jackets. And they are Li Yong's boys, who is now going to be, I guess, the benevolent dictator of Chinatown.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they had those sweet, hatchet holsters on. And I was just like, yep. Kind of miss seeing those are cool looking. Yeah, I can't help it. I just love a good practical solution.
Yeah, and I like Li Yong being in charge of Chinatown. I think things are going to go nicely.
So my question is it going to be Asam and Mai Ling versus just Yong, with Xing being the spoiler, or is Xing going to team up with Yong?
I think it's going to be Sahm and Mai Ling team up with a very reluctant Li Yong to wipe out Xing and his band of psychos. Because he'll probably team up with Happy Jack's maniacs, or whatever's left of that crew, since the guy who led that gang is dead.
Yeah, Happy Jack and then Gleeful Charlie or whatever. Yeah, he got it.
Yeah, the Barbarian Coalition led by Xing is going to... Yep, it's going to be a new axis of evil under Xing.
Yep. All I know is, Assam and Mai Ling, they need a bath, man. They need a bath bad.
they need a doctor, both of them.
Yeah.
She got a hatchet in the leg. He's been stabbed everywhere and sliced and punched and...
They're a mess. Yeah. They're a mess.
Yeah, they might want to spend a week in the opium den. Just kick back, have somebody clean their wounds, and they can just stay high, because there's no Percocets.
They're gonna need a lot of things stitched up.
Yeah. Well, that's it. We have finished Warrior altogether until season 4 comes out on Netflix. And thank you to Netflix for bringing that show back, because...
Yeah, well, and spreading it out into the world to more people. And I'm just like, I really hope that everybody gets out there and lets Netflix know that this needs to be made. Let's go season 4 with Warrior.
That's one amazing thing about science fiction and fantasy, is that it can end up being amazing political and social philosophy. And they can really deal with complex issues that you can't really touch on, because otherwise it just sounds like you're smacking somebody in the forehead.
Right, and then people sort of like really get into like the idiot specifics of the actual people involved instead of the bigger issues. And so, yeah, when you can sort of take the big issue and remove it from the local specifics, then you can get into the more interesting and bits about it.
And you can pursue it to its logical or illogical conclusion without anybody getting upset about it, because there's no investment in it emotionally, because it's in a science fiction setting rather than the real world.
Right. And I mean, and I think that's kind of fun. What Warrior has done is it's taken a lot of these modern day issues that are really just on repeat every, several decades, and have just placed them in a very true to life setting, but a setting that most Americans are not familiar with. But it's a good and interesting and fascinating story. Like, we sort of think about the Wild West, but like San Francisco was the wildest of Wests, and people stopped riding horses through the streets quite a while ago.
Yeah, they were one of the first cities to have like electric rail cars, but that, well, like you said, the wildest of West.
Yeah, I mean, I think about that money box that Mai Ling opened, and it's like money from the whole world.
Yep, yeah, because it was a port for, as we discussed, Russia, China, Australia. I mean, every kind of sailor from the West was coming there. So
yeah,
you had the Portuguese there, you had everybody.
The Spanish, the French, anybody who had a boat. Some of them stopped in San Francisco.
Yeah.
All of them.
I mean, it's a nice stop if you're going from Japan or the Philippines or whatever to hit Hawaii and come to California before you have to go around the Cape of, what is it, Cape Horn? I mean,
Cape Horn is South America. Cape of Good Hope is Africa.
Or carry your fucking boat through the jungles of Panama, which is just crazy, but that's what they used to do.
Ugh. Smaller boats. Much smaller boats. Well, speaking of things that are not familiar to Americans, I have jumped up and down and insisted the next thing we do is look at the new miniseries of James Clavell's Shogun.
Oh, yes. So we are going out of the 19th century for this, out of the United States. And what is this, the 17th century?
Yes. The reason partly because this book was one that I read like probably way too early. The book and then the miniseries that they did in the 80s was the introduction to most of mainstream America about the whole idea of Imperial Japan and the samurai and like martial arts culture to mainstream America.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, we had the ninja movies, but this was kind of the first thing that was like actually historical. And
right.
yeah, and God, that James Clavell book, number one, could be used as a weapon. That thing weighs, in a mass paperback, it weighs, 10 pounds? It's a heavy-ass book. But
I mean, it's the actual dimensions of like 2 bricks stacked on top of each other.
And weighs about as much as a brick. Yeah, that's a big book, but that's going to be so much fun. And so, what is your introduction to Jap? Do you have any background in Japan?
I mean, I've been to Japan one time, and it was sort of like
very cool.
It was a tag-along trip, a business trip my husband had. But living in the Seattle area, actually, one of my best friends in elementary school was Japanese. I hosted Japanese exchange students, just had a lot of access and exposure to Japanese culture, Japanese food, and then the whole Japanese internment thing was a big deal in my education.
Ah, yes. That makes sense. So where you had Japanese internment, I had a teacher in high school who was in the JDF. So we learned about the Holocaust for all of junior year. So it's
okay.
just whatever topic is local. It makes sense. I get that. That's awesome. So I have a little bit of a background and a history in China, and you have it in Japan, and that's fun.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to this, so it sort of feels like we're jumping way back in time, but even though this has a lot to do with Japan, there's also like British and Portuguese characters in here, and so there is just a lot of background of like, how did we get to the 19th century, and a lot of what's going on in 16th century seafaring and diplomatic relations around the world. Like, this is what the 19th century is busting out of. Like, this is what it's all changing.
Gotcha.
And so I just think it's fun. And also I've seen the previews, and boy, does it look stylish. I mean, I think there's going to be far fewer costume boo-boos in this one.
It's going to be fun. And also we get to talk about food innovations that happened at this time, because I'm sure, as you know, the Japanese did not deep fry a motherfucking thing until the Portuguese got there. And so if you love delicious deep fried Japanese food,
tempura,
yes, you have the Portuguese to thank, and it happened at this time.
And the arrival of any sort of like hot chili of all types. Every single last damn one of them is a South American thingy, and it is the Portuguese that started their spread around the world. They brought it to Japan, they brought it to China, which is how it got to Korea, they brought it to Africa.
It's crazy to think about Indian food with no chilies in it, but if it wasn't for the Portuguese and Goa, we'd have no delicious Indian foods. I mean, they'd still be delicious, just not spicy.
It just wouldn't be spicy, and just how all of that happened. So anyway, I'm super looking forward to that. That's what we're going to do next. And then we can do some lighter-hearted stuff after that.
Yeah, well, also, their social structure is so interesting to talk about. And comparing it with, like, Restoration-era England at the time, and Shakespeare is going on. And then you've got the daimyos in Japan. That's going to be a lot of fun to discuss. I'm glad you wanted to do it.
Oh, yeah. And just also, like, we're very familiar with the royalty and the nobility and the peasants of Europe, but there is a similar set of hierarchies going on in Japan, and I'm really hoping that they kind of poke into that a little bit.
I believe tentacle porn dates to Japan in this era as well. It's between the 16th and the 18th century.
16th?
Yeah, tentacle porn, 16th to the 18th century. It's definitely, porn in Japan has a long and storied history. So, yeah, we can discuss that too. That'll be fun.
Okay, I feel even better about sort of my sweeping statement that anytime you have advances in visual media, you immediately get new sexually charged imagery. And yeah, they were developing a lot of like wood block printing technology. So there.
It's an entire subplot of the Korean films, the Detective D films, like where they're using for bribery like these like smut books that they're handing back and forth, and like the one guy's staring at the painting on the cover of it and stuff. Like, do you have the first edition? I have the first one, I have the second one, and the third one, and they're trading them back and forth. And they keep them inside their robes just walking around. Like,
at some point in the 19th century, we are going to have to deal with the idea of like dirty postcards, because kids these days can't even imagine at like what a premium pornographic imagery was.
Oh boy, I grew up in the days of the Victoria's Secret catalog. You have to get in where you fit in. And before that, for a lot of America, it was the Sears catalog.
But I mean, we're talking about like there was no such thing as pornographic imagery except for like these little postcards that people were literally smuggling out of France.
Yeah.
Like, that was it.
Yeah, but in our lifetimes, it was still hard to get porn. Like, that's why we had to use the catalogs. It's crazy that that's where we were. But, wow, life has changed a lot in the last 40 years, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, man. So, let's hit the 16th century and, we'll go from there.
Yeah, we'll see how much has changed and how much is exactly the fucking annoyingly same.
Goddamn people. People be peopling all over the place.
Boy, they just won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. All right, until next week, I'm on Instagram at Plague of Strength, and where can they find you?
You can find me at my other podcast, The History of American Food, where I just did a whole episode on Revolutionary War era drug use. It was a good time.
Ooh, I'm going to have to check that out. Oh, I have a very fun series on PED use, so performance-enhancing drugs, so I am very excited about this.
Well, no, and it turns out there wasn't like a lot of drug use actually in the war. It's just these are the drugs that existed at that time. You'll have to go listen to the episode. I can't.
I'm gonna go listen to it.
All right. Well, we will see.
Because I want to know what propelled Peter Francisco, George Washington's psychotic massive broadsword-wielding bodyguard, into battle with a cannon on his shoulder. Like, he had to have had some interesting drugs in his body.
Okay. Wow.
What was the Revolutionary War PCP?
Yikes! It might have just been head trauma.
Oh, yep, there's that too.
We have touched on that a little bit.
Yeah, not in 45 seconds or so.
All right, so next week we head to Japan, and it's gonna be a good time.
It will. All right, we'll see you guys next week.
All right, bye-bye. We're on Instagram at PCG Podcast. And you can always reach out to us by email at pcgpodcasters@gmail.com. And you can find more dope beats like this one from royalraven.com.